A wild turkey gobble is powerful. When explaining it to a new hunter, I always say you can feel it in your chest when a big tom lets out a thunderous gobble in hopes he'll have a return cluck or purr from a hen interested in mating. On this episode of the Greenway Outdoors, I've come to South Carolina in hopes that I can mimic the sounds of a hen and trick an old tom into coming in close to check me out. If I can pull it off, we'll be in for a treat because I'll be able to make my famous buffalo turkey boneless wings. Before I head out in the woods to turkey hunt, the plan is to do some conservation work with the National Wild Turkey Federation. Let me tell you right now, there's fire involved, and this is going to be interesting. I'm Kyle Green. I travel the globe with my best friends hunting for wild game and dynamic conservation stories. Join us on our adventure as we escape the shackles of the modern world and gain a deeper understanding of where our food comes from. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors.
When people think National Wild Turkey Federation, it seems like they're still thinking about boxing up turkeys and shipping them all over the country so we can get the species established in different states. But we're at the point now where it seems like they're in 49 states. They're pretty well established. So now it's about building the right habitat and making sure they have what they need. And I've always been fascinated when we talk about controlled burns and how forest fires can actually be beneficial in some ways, but I've never quite understood it. So explain that to me.
Well, that's a really great question. People all think that fire is bad, which it's not. When you conduct a prescribed fire, you're creating habitat and you're actually helping mitigate for wildfires that are detrimental to wildlife. So prescribed fires that are applied to the ground and in a controlled manner are very effective, and it creates this habitat such as this. That's important nesting habitat for turkeys and for other wildlife versus the catastrophic wildfires today that are these 600,000 acres that are completely destroying the forest.
I was just talking to the gentleman who's doing this prescribed burn on his property, and the reason why he's doing it is because he's looking to knock down this underbrush. It's not going to burn too hot. It's not going to get rid of all the hardwoods, all the thick stuff, because you still need some of that for cover, but it's going to get rid of all of this underbrush here. Once it burns down, the soil will be nice and clean. New growth will start, and it'll be perfect nesting habitat for turkeys and quail.
I tend to question everything, and if you're anything like me, you might be asking yourself, why do we need to do controlled burns to make turkey habitat? There were turkeys around long before we did controlled burns, and even before European settlers came to the United States. In my research, I found there were naturally occurring fires that benefited turkey habitat long before humans got involved. More often than not, caused by lightning strikes. Nowadays, civilization is built up so much that we prevent and stop this from happening by taking up room on the landscape with cities and development, and we stop fires when they start. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it obviously gives strong insight to why these controlled burns are important. This is just one of the many things the National Wild Turkey Federation does to help this amazing bird.
I know everyone talks about it. Turkeys were darn near extinct in almost every state, and obviously now we have them in 49. But the birds that you use to repopulate actually came from this area.
This is kind of a neat opportunity. It's the low country, which is the southern half of the South Carolina state. It's really the traditional stronghold for turkeys, really across the country. And some of the original birds actually helped repopulate the entire state of South Carolina and started the whole process for us to do the restocking for turkeys in 49 of the 50 states now.
So this is like ground zero for turkeys. And I was talking to some of the guys at the airport, and they had a different hypothesis. They said the reason why the source birds and why they survived here was because these are the smartest turkeys and hardest turkeys to hunt on the planet.
You know, they've probably been hunted longer than any other birds in the country because of that tradition.
Yeah.
You know, because you go into these western states that now have birds that they didn't have 20 years ago. There's not that tradition that is here in the South.
Now, we've done most of our turkey hunting in Michigan, The turkeys down here, do they gobble a little slower? Do they have like a southern drawl?
How would you gobble with southern drawl?
I was gonna do one, but I couldn't think of how you would do that.
Gobble, gobble, y'all.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Onyx Hunt, know where you stand with the #1 hunting app. Savage Arms, where better comes standard. Boss Shot Shells, premium grade and American made. Nosler Ammunition, a step above the rest. And by Carlson's Choke Tubes, the only choke tube we've ever used. We are in South Carolina hunting turkeys. The first morning was interesting because I put my decoys out in the only clearing around and had a turkey gobbling his head off on a roost nearby. Once the fog cleared, he went completely silent, which isn't uncommon for turkeys, so we sat tight for a few more hours, hoping he was sneaking in quietly. But unfortunately, it never worked out. Jeff's luck was even worse than mine because he didn't even get to hear a bird. As the morning carried on, my buddy Tom, who owns the property, came out and joined me for a bit. We called and covered a lot of ground, but didn't have any success. We decided to head in for lunch, and then Jeff and I would be hunting together in the afternoon.
Just in case you made the mistake of being pumped about this and thinking we had a good chance today, I want you to know that only 22% of the turkeys shot in this state last year was during the afternoon hunt. 78% in the morning. So statistically, not looking good.
That's because people get lazy after they've been out for the morning hunt. They go and take naps, they nap too long. Next thing you know, it's night.
It could be. Oh, so you think it's attributed to a lot of missed hunts?
A lot of laziness, if you ask me.
I think part of it is the fact that you have to not succeed in the morning in order to hunt the afternoon.
True.
Are you stretching?
We're gonna walk a bunch. I'm trying to be limber. We sat all morning.
Limber?
Yeah.
Let's go, Stretchy. I'll leave you.
Fine.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by Eagle Fishing, tactical fishing gear for the savvy angler. Rife International, fish for the future. Despite my negative thoughts going into this hunt, we had a turkey gobble back to our crow call right away. Now that we have an idea of where he is, it's time to make a move.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. I think he's probably 400 or 500 yards that way. Property line's only 100 yards away. We have to get him to come here. Now this opening right here, what they'll do is at night, they actually try and court a hen. So they'll check the openings real quick so they can see a lot of space. If there's a hen there, they'll try and court her and get her up to bed. If he's looking down this lane where I think he is, he's gonna look down this lane, see the decoy. We're gonna be off to the side over here. That focused here. He's focused here walking down this way. His eyes are on the decoy. Now they get a little tense around decoys, normally like 100 yards away, they stop and think. But it'll be too late for him because we'll be tucked in off the side and able to shoot him anyways and ambush him. So let's get this set up, go get tucked in now. I'm gonna put the decoys down and then we'll get tucked in over there. But I'm using a male and a female. What will happen is that Tom will see this Tom near one of his hens or a hen that he might think is his and say, no, 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 get super jealous and come charging over. A lot of times you'll actually see him attack the decoys. I've had it many times, but when they're that distracted and that fired up, that's exactly what you want. All I'm doing is just easy little yelps, and that's a call that a female turkey makes. So those little yelps are gonna get the attention of the turkey. Now, there are people that speak the turkey language, experts, people that are amazing at this. It's like a second language for them. I didn't pay attention to Spanish class, and I sure as heck haven't paid attention to this, but I do know how to yelp. Yelp is the most basic call that you'll learn. It's like the very first one. and I know this too, and I found this to work for me, and I'm sure some people out there will disagree, but I start with a cadence of 7 yelps. When I get a gobble back and I get a gobbler fired up and he's starting to come, I lower that down to 3 or 4. Kind of keeps him committed. I think he just got hung up. He could have roosted over there. I don't know specifically what it was, but he didn't get any closer. And honestly, I think he might have got a little farther. But we can't break the property line. There's nothing I can do.
So what you're saying is you were wrong about what you thought he was going to do.
I was hopeful. Some of the best laid plans don't work out perfectly. That's why they call it hunting.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of our first turkey hunt. Very similar. You decided to take the lead and pick where we were going. We do a call, we hear a bird, we get super pumped. It's our very first hunt and we nailed it.
First of all, yeah, we were like 16 years old, something like that. Turkey gobbling his absolute head off. We get set up. It was actually a lot like this because it didn't get any closer. And we're like, okay, after 10 minutes, let's move up a little bit closer.
Every call, he is losing his mind.
But he's not getting any closer. So we inch in, we inch in, we inch in. We get to the very edge of our property line where somebody else's property line is, but their yard goes right up to it. And I do one last big old call and a gobble, and this thing loses its mind, and we look close, lift up the binoculars to see a turkey that's a pet in a cage lose it.
All he has to do, everything he has ever wanted in life, is right on the other side of this wall, and all he's got to do is get through that wall.
He's throwing himself against the cage. We thought, I'm the greatest caller and hunter alive.
First shot, this isn't even hard.
Pretty much par for the course now.
So far, the turkeys of South Carolina, well, they've outsmarted us. After 3 days of giving it our all, we're forced just to pack up and head home with our tail between our legs. Now, I hate failing, but when it comes to hunting, you have to realize it happens all the time. And to be quite honest, some of my favorite memories come from failed hunts. Whether it's a close call that didn't go my way, a lesson learned from a bonehead move, or even just good company and a bunch of laughs. Success or failure, there are no wasted days in the field. We dusted ourselves off when we got back to our home state of Michigan and hit the woods right away. The first morning, I took Jeff over to a spot I had scouted a few days earlier and saw a few turkeys. Then I got busy looking for more for myself in a different location. It's early morning and I've already heard a gobble in the distance.
This guy is fired up. I gotta feel like he's probably like 200 yards into the woods there. But this clearing right here will be perfect. And there's a dirt road where I can navigate all the way up quietly, put a decoy out and give this one last go.
Finally, I got to lay eyes on a big, mature turkey. And right after, a few more of his big friends showed up too. My heart is racing, but I have to stay patient. Turkey feathers are extremely tough, and shotgun pellets won't penetrate the feathers. You have to aim for the head. So I need one of these turkeys to get within 50 yards. When I was focusing on these turkeys, I didn't realize one had snuck in from my right. Now this turkey is definitely close enough, but I'm facing away from him. He'll spook and run off if I try to adjust, so I have to sit perfectly still until he gets to the left side of my decoy, which is where my gun is lined up. Finally, mission accomplished, I got my turkey.
that could not have turned out any better than that. Turkey hunting still gets me so fired up, it's unbelievable. This is a big bird. This isn't a young bird at all. To give you a little idea, these little points on the back here are really sharp. These are called spurs, so they use these to fend off predators. That thing is sharp. A big one would be like an inch or bigger. Jeffrey actually got one that was 1.5 inches one time, and that was the biggest I've ever seen in person. This is called a beard. Now, when you feel it, you're gonna immediately think horsehair, but these are actually all individual feathers that continue to grow throughout the turkey's life. And to give you an idea of age, if you look at this and you see something that's 10 inches or longer, you can assume that that's a mature bird, probably 2.5 or older. And it is strange to think that this bird is likely a descendant of birds that were originally transplanted from South Carolina, right where we were. I think that was Jeff. How sweet would that be?
I got in, set up my decoys, marked off about 20 yards, got into the woods, probably a little deeper than I should have, but I wanted to make sure I was in cover, you know. And I sit there, I see 2 deer, I see a rabbit. Other than that, I see nothing.
Did you hear any gobbles?
No, not one gobble, didn't see a hen, nothing.
Nothing, okay.
And then I'm not proud, but I checked my phone, looked through a couple emails, and then next thing you know, I woke up.
Came to?
I came to, and look up, check my decoys, and one of them's moving.
The best one at that.
Yeah, it's a great bird. So I got up, I shot, and then I panicked, and I would call it buck fever.
Yeah.
But I was still groggy from sleeping, so it wasn't a, yeah, I got it, I'm so excited. It was a, what's happening?
These spurs, dude, these spurs are obnoxious.
That's about
obnoxious.
That's about a 9-inch beard at least.
Great job, dude. Awesome. Can you lift it?
Yep.
Woo.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. LEM Game Processing Equipment, Wilderness Athlete, fuel for the rugged. Sea-Doo, live the Sea-Doo life. And by Rufus Teague.
If there is one wild game that you can get a lot of people to try and enjoy, it's wild turkey, because they're used to the flavor of turkey and it's not too different than you would get at a store. But I have the ultimate recipe. I'm going to be making boneless wings out of the turkey, kind of like you get at a restaurant, except way better. All I'm doing here is just cutting up a turkey breast. Now this is just one of the breasts out of my turkey, and as you see, you actually get quite a bit of meat. We've got the wild turkey chunked up about how we want. Now let's talk about the different ingredients. Here I have flour, something everyone uses for breading. Number 2, to add the crunch, the breadcrumbs. But number 3 is my secret ingredient, and that's the pancake mix. This is what gives it the sweet flavor. Now, we're gonna mix all these together, and it's the perfect breading. Okay, that's perfect. Now, we're gonna come over here. We have our Rufus Teague chicken rub, and all we're gonna do is coat each piece with that, drop it in. I remember when I came up with this recipe idea, you know, like when you move out of your parents' house for the first time and you're kind of experimenting with cooking because you're not eating spaghetti every Wednesday like your mom put you through? Well, when that happened, I decided, I was like, you know what would make breading chicken better? If you added something a little bit sweet. That's how I came up with the pancake mix idea. And then once I got into hunting and wild game, it kind of stuck. I'm telling you, when you try it, it's the best. Now, we're just gonna move them around and try and coat each side evenly. Another thing that can help too is if you soak the breast overnight. If you shoot a big old tom and they're a little bit gamey and maybe the meat's a little bit tougher, milk will actually help tenderize the meat and take away some of the game flavor as well. It also will help the breading stick to it a little bit better too. Okay, let's move over to the deep fryer. Okay, our temp is 400 degrees. We want it hot and we want it quick. Drop these guys into the basket and then into the oil. Roughly 6 minutes, but you'll see them start to float, and then you know things are happening. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. All done, so I'm gonna dump them out here and allow them to kind of drip dry And then we're just gonna sauce these guys. So get them all flat, get all these guys spread out, and all you're gonna do is grab your favorite barbecue sauce. I like a honey sweet, and you just pour it over the top. I like to put it on a rack like this because it kind of blocks everything from getting all over the counter, but you can just do that. Whew, man, is that gonna be good. Drizzle it over there, and then you just kind of spread it evenly over each one. That's the perfect glaze on each one, and now they're ready for the plate. Tell me that isn't the most beautiful looking wings you've ever seen in your life. All white meat, juicy, tasty. If you could order this at a restaurant, you would. It's just the absolute best. But honestly, with this recipe, I knew it was gonna be good.
On this episode, we harvested turkeys and learned a lot about hands-on conservation. It's amazing how controlled fires can be so great for habitat and benefit lots of wildlife, yet an uncontrolled wildfire can cause catastrophic habitat loss and kill thousands of animals. During this whole experience, I kept drawing similarities to my life. When I've tried to control my life on my own, I've gotten burned. But when God is at the helm, the fires burned away negative relationships, stress, fear, and unhealthy habits. In the book of Jeremiah, God says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope, plans to give you a future." We just have to trust in Him.